Well, her and I mean, by the end of that flight, when we were standing up trying to get our luggage, and get ready to leave the plane, I mean, both of us, I could sense that we wanted to hug each other. I mean, that's how intimate of a conversation we ended up having about life.
That's awesome.
Life is life for everyone.
You're watching Life is Life for Everyone with Chris and Ace, a speakeasy conversation brought to you by CooleyConservatives.com.
Okay. Well, first of all, let us welcome our guests, our audience. Another episode of Life is Life for Everyone with my friend Dana Auer, the man of the hour. Welcome, sir.
Welcome. Thank you. Thank you.
And we will jump into your proximity right now. But first, let's start this off right. Let's start with a Bible verse. And my remarkable wife gave me this suggestion when I asked her about a Bible verse related to travel. It is Proverbs 16:9. In their hearts, humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps.
Yes. Amen.
I thought that was a good one. We like to go around thinking, we're going to travel here, travel there. Sometimes the Lord puts us in different steps.
Yeah. I can, have several things already from this trip that my wife Jackie and I are on that, relate to that verse for sure, because it isn't always our plans and about us specifically. Sometimes it's, our, us for others and what we're able to provide to others, even in the smallest fraction, of a impulse or a situation. So, they're when you're operating in love rather than in the opposite. It's amazing
Yeah.
how much good comes from that experience. I've got several things that have already happened since we landed in Australia that have been would give you God bumps.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's been
Yeah,
a
maybe we
really
can get into some of those details.
sure.
It is interesting though, because like you said, I mean like when I traveled to Phoenix for the Charlie Kirk Memorial, and I mean it felt like a calling, like I had to go to that, and I know why. I mean, I talked about it in one of the podcasts when I mean I had no idea anything like this was ever going to happen. I mean, I knew it was a big event, but the one thing that I took away from that trip was the Uber driver that I met.
Hmm.
It was incredible. I mean, that
Interesting.
was God putting all of that in place. I had no idea. I would have had no control over any of that. It was just
Hmm.
God put it, like you said, God bumps. I mean,
Yeah.
just the conversation I had, 30-minute conversation with this guy, and really helping him mature in his faith, and him the same
Hmm.
for me. It was remarkable.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
about your experience? What was it? What's the top of mind? Your experience there in Australia?
Well, before we even arrived, one of the plane rides from L.A. to Melbourne, I ended up sitting with or no, I'm sorry, from Chicago to L.A. I take that back. I ended up sitting next to a woman, and you know how I am. I can talk.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
pretty personable, and I'm
that's why
open
you're a
to.
great guest here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm open to sharing of myself, with perfect strangers once we break that ice. And well, her and I mean, by the end of that flight, when we were standing up trying to get our luggage, and get ready to leave the plane, I mean, both of us, I could sense that we wanted to hug each other. I mean, that's how intimate of a conversation we ended up having about life.
That's awesome.
Life is life for everyone. And not only was I able to share personally all of my experiences with recovery and with different things with mental illness and different, service related, topics to others. And,
Yeah.
she ended up just opening up, talking about her relationship situations, with spouse, with mother, with father. And
Mm.
I mean, it just got so personal and so revealing. Both of us shared openly
Yeah.
in that realm, and I don't know if people were listening around us, but I'm sure they all got something out of it as well. Because she ended up, sharing details about her work as a pharmacist, and
Mm.
and uh, uh, just all of the health issues that I have personally, and take medications for. Getting a different point of view from a pharmacist was pretty useful,
Interesting.
and might have kept me from going down a path of not feeling like I wanted to keep using statins, for instance, for my heart
Hmm.
medicines. And she gave me multiple reasons of why that's not a good idea. So
Interesting.
she might have saved my life. Who knows?
Who knows?
She talked about carrying multiple, a vial of baby aspirin with me, because not only is the nitroglycerin a helpful tool to help, a person that is having some heart issues, but if you consumed 4 baby aspirin, chewed them up, and got them in your system really quickly, that action would be enough to potentially save your life from having that heart attack. And I didn't
Wow.
know that. I didn't know that.
That's interesting.
Yeah, she said baby aspirin was as effective, or if not more so, than that nitro. In that dire situation that you're in by yourself. I'm in my semi and I'm suddenly having a heart attack. Pop 4 of those, call 911, and it may be the answer to save, give me enough time for that ambulance to get there. So
Well, and to your point too, before, like you said, maybe having some available for someone else who's in a similar situation, you could help
perfect,
them get that aspirin in their system and get an ambulance on the way.
perfect thought. Yes, yes.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
that's a great preparedness minded way to do it too.
yeah, yeah. So that was one situation that I could tell was divinely driven. Sitting
Yeah.
next to the right person on a plane ride for 4 3 4 hours. It could have been miserable, and
Yeah.
you know it ended up just wonderful. And
Yeah.
the uh, the other thing was to witness Jackie. Uh, she We went to a private park that is the only location in Australia that has the opportunity for a person to hold a koala bear.
Oh.
You can't do it anywhere else in the country or in the world, basically. So here she is on pictures, holding this live koala bear. And then I heard her coming up to the door that was closed. I heard her voice. So I got my camera ready, and as soon as she got out, I quick action framed, 3 quick pictures of her emotional response. She just lost it. That was
That's
probably
awesome.
one of the most healing things that she could have done for herself. You know, uh, getting reunited and back in touch with God's world, with
Mm.
nature, the beauty of it, the love of it. Uh, so that was a pretty touching moment. And I somehow or another, I was, you might have been, anyone else may have been led to take part in that individually, with, as a couple, or just, I want to do it too. But for some reason, I was held back. I wanted her to experience that all to herself. That was her Australian
That was
gift.
hers. Yeah.
That
That's a
was her.
great way to look at it too.
Yeah, and it was fantastic. Our friends that we're here staying with are, I mean, they are just incredible. They're going above and beyond. They've come to the States a few times, and they've been, overwhelmingly taken care of, and they're doing the same back to Jackie and I and our other friends, that are two friends that are here, the other couple that we traveled with. And it's kind of like a pay it forward, type situation that we're involved
Nice.
with our friends. And, hopefully someday I'll be able to do the same thing again, either for them specifically, or, or another couple, that
Yeah.
comes and visits our motorcycle affiliation together.
Yeah.
Um, to be able to ride Harley Davidson in on the opposite side of the road, while, following my friend, and having that experience touring a war memorial. That was
Ooh.
wonderful, and seeing a name on one of the walls that is my mother's maiden name.
Oh,
And she,
interesting.
yeah, she told me to kind of do a little research while I was here, looking for individuals with that last name, and sure enough, I found one on this war memorial. So
Wow.
just beautiful botanical gardens, and birds. The birds having live wild cockatoos flying through and landing in the backyard of our friend's
Oh
home.
my.
Uh, it's just an incredible place. It really is. It's beautiful here. Uh,
That's
it's
cool.
it's very different. It's on the other side of the equator, and it's
I'm
and
glad you brought that up because
yeah.
I want to share my screen just to give all of the audience an understanding of, I mean, it's sure we talk about these things, but like you're on the other side of the world right now.
We really are. Yeah,
So
it's
let's just do a quick little Google map here.
yeah.
Okay.
We're
Here's
we're on
Wisconsin.
yeah. We're on the
And
west.
all the way across the ocean is Australia.
Yeah, we're on the west side as well.
Oh,
We're
so
we
you're not even you're off screen.
There you go. There you go. We
So
landed
you're
on
way down here.
Yeah, we're in Perth,
Okay. Yeah, right
Australia.
here. Cool.
We landed in Melbourne, and we flew then to Perth, and Monday we will be flying from Perth to Sydney, which is over on the east side,
Yeah.
and
Wow.
spending the rest of our time in Australia in Sydney. And then, lucky us, we're going to end our trip trying to get reacclimated to our time zone in the States by flying into Hawaii for 5 days and visiting with
Oh,
friends.
darn.
Yeah, friends there, and and really looking forward to a day trip in Honolulu at the Pearl Harbor Memorial site, and
Yeah,
and
that is an experience right there.
yeah, yeah.
And if you guys walk away with dry eyes, there's something wrong with you.
I'm sure. I'm sure. Yeah, there's been a couple
It
of
is
those
it is a
emotional moments.
beautiful memorial, but very impactful.
Yeah, and it's going to be the week of Veterans Day, so
Oh,
yeah,
perfect.
there'll be a lot of maybe older veterans
I
that
bet.
I'm just like Jackie is with little kids. They end up calling her auntie. By the time they leave her, but she's equally as good with elderly, individuals. So we'll be having all kinds of stranger contact. So
Oh yeah. Well, and
so
with a Christ-centered heart like you guys have, that
yeah,
always is going to happen.
yeah, yeah. It's going to be amazing. So But we talked in one of the episodes, Chris, about our bug out bags
Yeah.
and being prepared for any type of a situation. And so I looked on, I googled airline requirements and restrictions for
Yeah.
what could be taken on a plane, and I honestly am the least prepared for a an emergency than I have
Yeah.
been in years, but
Well, that is
especially,
actually something that I definitely wanted to talk to you about is,
yeah,
with a preparedness mindset,
yeah,
obviously there's a risk versus reward balance that you have to take when you're traveling on a plane. So yeah,
yeah.
talk a little bit about that.
Well, so many items that I would normally, you know, carry in my bug out bag are restricted on airplanes,
Yep.
and the you certainly couldn't take any type of a weapon,
Right.
so not even having a knife on board, what are you going to do? I'm used to carrying a pocket knife for whatever reason, and it isn't just for
They come in
self-defense.
really
It's,
handy with Amazon boxes.
yeah, anything.
Yep.
We talked about Derek Van Orden's experience with that accident and
Oh,
cutting a
right.
seat. You don't just cut a seatbelt with anything. You have to have some
Right.
type of sharp tool of some kind in order to do that. So I was pretty limited. I chose I only had my little man purse. I mean, I
Sure.
only had I only had a small bag to carry, passports and international driver's license in, um, my phone, um, and even carrying this on the plane wasn't an option. So I packed it in the not my carry-on luggage, but the checked luggage.
Checked luggage. Sure.
Yeah, yeah. So I did have a backpack with, some items, but all of what I'm going to show you now was in my check-in bag.
Okay.
So I chose to grab a cheap Walmart box of emergency blanket, one of those cellophane type
Yeah.
bags. Um, I chose to grab my mirror. I don't think
There
it's
you go.
glass. I believe it's plastic with a mirror edge.
Yeah, and in a pinch, you could use that as a edged blade. I mean, you could
You
break
could,
it
you
and
could.
use it to cut something if you really had to.
I think you could use the sunlight with it to start a fire. The
Sure.
reflection. Um, could use it to check your hair. You know.
That's the important part. Make sure
I
your
grabbed
makeup is all good.
I grabbed a strap-on flashlight.
Oh,
A
I love those
headlamp.
things.
Yeah,
Those
I
little
I would.
headlamps are so handy.
Yeah, I think that's probably a necessity for any time you leave to have
Yeah,
that
you know
with you.
what? Now that I think of it, I only have one of those. I should probably get another one, maybe even two more.
Yeah, yep. I grabbed a sharpening stone, but on the edge is a flint built
Yeah.
into the edge of it, and it'll with this multi-tool that has I don't know 10 or more options on it. It's
Oh,
metal,
yeah.
screwdriver, bottle opener, can opener,
So
saw.
TSA didn't have a problem with that
I,
multi-tool?
I stuck it in my metal first aid box, and there's even a razor blade in there.
Yeah,
And
wow, that's interesting.
so this Coleman first aid kit, multiple bandages and such, safety pins. Anyway,
Well,
that's
that
where I
is good
had.
advice right there. If TSA is good with that, that would be definitely a good thing to travel with.
Yeah, unless they didn't catch it, which
Or you got lucky, yeah.
or I got lucky. One of the bags, and again, it was in my check-ins.
Mm-hmm.
So, it was taken. It wasn't in the passenger compartment. Um,
So maybe that's
one,
why, because it was
yeah,
checked.
yeah. One of our two carry-on bags that we stow above us in the compartments twice at security, we ended up getting pulled aside and it got opened. And the reason is because Jackie had this like bean or rice bag for you warm it
Hmm.
up in a microwave and then you put it on a sore part of your body. And
Mm-hmm.
those apparently show a void in the case so that it's
Interesting.
empty. And they didn't know what we were trying to conceal in that emptiness. And so they opened it
Right.
up, and once they realized it was a rice bag, they let us go through.
They
But
probably see those a few times, but they had to check. That makes sense.
yeah, yeah, the void
Yeah,
was
the
the
ones that
problem.
always get me when I'm going through with my carry-on is my ham radios. I have like
Oh,
usually two, sometimes three radios in my carry-on.
yeah, yeah. So that, I'm limited to those items. But I did make sure. Now we ended up a friend of our friends that we're staying with. They A friend of theirs actually borrowed a four-wheel drive Ford Ranger pickup truck to us, and in doing so, I made our friend made sure that we had all of his information with us, along with us in the vehicle, insurance, roadside assistance, who to call, his name, his phone number, our friends' phone numbers, and address. So just a little extra key preparedness there. You wouldn't want to go for a drive in a strange land or in a strange vehicle and not have some pertinent information
Yeah.
to cover yourself with. The international driver's license.
How
I
does that
being
work? Did
yeah
you have to
being
like go to an office and apply for it or something?
yeah I went to a AAA location in Alaska, the
Oh,
AAA,
because I have a
and
friend who's getting ready to travel to Germany, and he just said the other day that it's really cheap to rent a car there. So he's like, "Yeah, I'm just going to drive."
yeah,
And I was like,
yeah.
"Okay."
For a fee, I was able to get all of the same designations that I have on my American license.
Oh,
And so I could actually, in over a 3-week visa, drive a semi in Australia if their opportunity
you
was
could make a
available.
few bucks while you're there.
Yeah, yeah. But my motorcycle endorsement, that's on here, and
Nice.
uh, so
So it
I
was just
I
a matter of going to the office and having them stamp it for you, or did you have to take a test?
no answer a series of questions at the AAA office, and then she stamped the international driver's license and took my
Interesting.
picture. Yeah, it was pretty simple to
Yeah.
do.
Well, and,
Uh,
and honestly, it's not something that everyone would have thought of either. Is that you have? I mean,
yep,
you got to be licensed to drive in a wherever
you
you
have
are.
to. Yes, yeah. Which is unusual. Speaking of licenses, I'm a fisherman, and here in Australia, if you're on the ocean edge or the water that is both salt and fresh mixed at like on a mouth of a river, you
Hmm.
don't need a fishing license. Couldn't believe
Wow.
it. I mean, in Wisconsin, you'd have to have a non-resident fishing license at I don't even know.
And a trout stamp added to it if you're doing
Yeah,
that.
yeah, all of
There's all
that.
kinds of
All of
stuff.
that. Now, if you're in inland and you're in freshwater, then you do need a license, but it's still
Okay,
pretty cheap, pretty inexpensive for
that's
non-resident.
interesting.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go take advantage of that. Got some poles all set up and ready for us, so I'm looking forward to seeing what I can catch out of the ocean. So
Nice.
yeah. So back to the driving, riding a motorcycle be on the opposite side of the road following our friend. That made it easier, of course. But and then 2 days worth of driving this Ford Ranger pickup truck, and with them, and him in the vehicle with us again, helping to direct us. And GPS worked well. I mean, we logged it in, and my other friend was in the front seat, and he kept me on track. But doing roundabouts and turning, like, let's say you turn left, and where you'd normally go into the right lane, in the opposite side of the street, right? Well, no, this way you're, imagine turning right into what we feel would be the line of traffic, and it takes a little bit of thinking, to familiarize yourself with it. And then the turn signals on the right hand side of the steering wheel, which again, the steering wheel is on the passenger side of the car,
Oh my.
right? So the whole time I'm hitting the windshield wipers because I want to hit the turn signal. I end up
Yeah.
turning. So everybody knows there's an American behind the wheel,
I was
when
just gonna say they're probably like stupid American.
yeah, the wipers are going. So I mean, there's just, there's definite differences in culture and experience. Certainly the dialect and the language, there are barriers, in
Mm.
each area. Sydney compared to Perth, it's like being the difference between was northern, a Yooper,
You
in Upper
betcha.
Michigan, or and a someone from Georgia. So
Yeah.
there's a big difference in dialect and understanding. When you're at a
Yeah.
checkout counter ordering ice cream, the girl was having a hard time understanding us. So
That
yeah,
is interesting. I remember traveling with my dad when he was a truck driver, and we were in Louisiana, and some of that Creole stuff, man, it is hard to understand. I'm like, are you
yeah,
speaking the same language as me?
yeah, exactly.
But that's
Yeah.
interesting. I didn't realize that Australia had variations throughout its countryside too.
Mm. Yeah, north to south, same situation. It
Interesting.
seems like the population of the country, congregates more on the coastal regions of the island.
Hmm.
It's an island of itself,
Yeah.
and everything's
Island
along,
continent.
yeah, along both sides. Um, the the temperature, you know, as someone from the States packing for what we think we're going to need, um, we kind of had a versatile clothing line to choose out of our suitcases. And
Sure.
you know you'd think that it would be short pants and tank tops, you know but it's
Yeah.
not. It's like high 50s in the early morning,
Okay.
and then one day this week so far it got up to 95, and that's when we went to a beach and experienced the whole beach experience. 6 foot beautiful white 6 foot waves coming into the beach, and
Oh my.
people surfing and people enjoying the sunlight.
Yeah.
uh, just thousands of people up and down this white sand beach. Yeah,
Wow.
it's beautiful. The So the temperatures fluctuated. They're experiencing a late spring here, where you are now. You're experiencing a mid fall or early fall.
That's right.
So the temperature difference is pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and you think about it too. I mean, the way astronomy works, the way the
mhm,
sun works, the way
mhm,
that, well, actually, it's not even the sun, it's the planet, the way the axis works. We've got the sun setting in the west, and it's starting to move more to the southwest.
mhm.
And so that means where you are, the sun is like going to be right overhead.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because so when does summer officially begin for Australia?
I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. I would assume it's
It's
coming.
probably during our winter.
Yeah, their grass now is greenish, but it's starting to go tan. It'll lose its green pigment because of the heat and the sun.
Okay.
So it's coming. It must be within a month. I would think their summer is going
Okay.
to be here, and then it'll be over 100. It'll be difficult to stay outside for long periods of time.
Yeah.
But yeah, the uh, having what was I going to say? The uh, I wanted to get back to the hours that it took to get here. So we were in the LA airport waiting. We had a layover, and the plane was delayed. And the original layover was 3 hours,
Mm,
and it got delayed for a couple more hours. And so we were in the LA for like 5 plus, and the
mm.
reason for the delay had to do with a toilet backup on the
Oh
plane.
no.
It wasn't a serious situation, but it was enough that they were forced to stay. And
Somebody
then the
had too much
problem was,
Taco Bell.
I don't know, but the problem was getting the right person to sign off and say that it's good to go. And this person was like 15 miles from the airport and had to
Mm,
come. And so that
dang.
was an experience. But uh, I believe it took 13 hours to fly from LA to Melbourne. But when we arrived, it was the next day.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I don't know if we started out with that, but right now it's after 7 o'clock in the morning here.
It's Thursday
To
morning for
all the
you, and
way
it's
Thursday
Wednesday
morning.
evening.
It's
Yep.
Wednesday evening for you at after 6 o'clock. So the
Yeah.
time change difference causes this jet lag experience, and now it's Thursday. We arrived on Saturday. It took 3 whole days to get my sea legs and
Wow.
it and obtain proper sleep. Uh,
Yeah.
up, the first 3 days I was up at 2:30, and had a hard time getting back to bed again.
Yep.
Uh, so but now it's like normal. So after this long a time, I'm stuck in their time change.
Yeah.
So we'll
Yeah.
see
And then
how.
switching back is going to be a pain too.
Yeah, yeah, that was good advice. My financial counselor in the States, he told Jackie and he suggested that we do that Hawaii, uh, turn around, come back to Hawaii first for a few days and get reacclimated, and that was wise. That was good life for
Mm,
life is life for everyone advice there. You know,
yeah.
uh, and then hopefully, I know we'll be back Sunday the 16th, but we're gonna go ahead and stay. We're not gonna drive right home. 2 hours from Chicago and 4.5, 4 hours back to the La Crosse area. We're gonna just wait and stay overnight and then come back on Monday and take an extra day off. So,
There you go.
um, but let's see, what else can I speak on with this?
Well, speaking of your financial advisor, that was another topic that
Yeah,
you had mentioned was just,
yeah, yeah,
responsibly financing a trip like this.
yeah. Um, First of all, for folks listening, Jackie and I have had a few health challenges. I mentioned with my heart issues, and she's had some challenges. And at our age, I'm 63, and a year and a half ago, this opportunity came about. And at 63, we've made some good decisions financially, and we being both full-time employed, we set a goal of being financially capable of having this occur without any financial difficulty. And
Hmm.
how did we do that? So I hope this would help future, planners and travelers. Jackie's really, really excellent at accounting, finance type savings, that type of thing. And she and I worked out a plan and saved X amount of dollars every paycheck, and thus doing so had absolutely no problem funding this trip in a year and a half. And
So a year and a
without,
half to save up for a trip this big?
yeah,
That's
yeah,
not
and
bad at all.
and we made those plans, and we followed through with those plans. And here's the when I suggested this topic to you, Chris, here's the motivation or the theme or the why for it. A lot of young folks, they either aren't taught, no one shares this with them, and they end up at 63 years old and wondering, am I ever going to be able to retire? Am I
Hmm.
am I going to have to, no offense to, people who still, end up working part-time or full-time after they're 65 or their retirement age, but with the right kind of planning, that long-term ideal is the key.
Yes.
So since, and we actually started a little later because two kids and a home mortgage and expenses and such, and then I owned my own business for 9 years, and I put everything into my business, and I didn't have the
Yeah.
means of saving anything. So I lost that 9 years out of the plan. So
Yeah,
my
it's interesting you
suggestion,
say that because I've heard that from other businessmen that they're so focused on the business that
hmm
they can't pay themselves. They put everything back into the business, and
yeah,
it's a real struggle for a lot of people.
yeah. So what we ended up doing is trying to add extra to Jackie's retirement plan, her 401k, and we caught up, but it could have been a lot larger, given
Oh
time.
yeah, good point.
Uh, so
Well,
let's
and
say,
that's the beauty of it too, is like you said, the time is on your side. And I've tried to give that advice to my adult children. Like, whatever you
yeah,
do something now.
yeah,
Just
yes,
start
even
building
if,
that as a habit. You can
yeah, even if
increase it
it's,
later when you have more means, but at least
yeah,
start building that as a habit now because it
yeah,
starts adding up. And 20 years later, you're like, holy cow, I actually have something I can retire with.
yeah, and to put a small amount in consistently, you can get to the mindset that it doesn't even hurt. It's just automatically going in there.
Yep.
So if a person's, let's say you're 18 or 21, or you're just starting in the workforce, and you put you know 10, if you could get to the amount of match, where my employer matches. If I put this amount in, they will add this amount above and beyond it. If you can get to that match, that's to your
Yes.
advantage. But if you can't, start out with what you can do, and
Right.
then
At least
every
do
time
something.
every time you get a raise, take half of that raise and add it to your retirement or your portfolio.
That's a
And
great advice too. Yeah, always
then,
always make sure you're adding more to it because those raises, I mean, you could
yeah,
flush it down the toilet on BS,
yeah,
or you can have, like you're saying, a good chunk of it going towards your retirement.
yeah, at least half. So let's say, you're going along and it doesn't seem like it's adding up real fast, and it doesn't. It takes time for it to compound. And there's a lot of people I talk to. I have a little bit of financial background. I worked in securities. I worked with public school employees on their tax deferred annuity plans. I worked in the life insurance industry a little while. So I've got some background, and I I show this to people, and they've never seen it before. It isn't taught in schools. And
Hmm.
it's such a simple rule. And I'm going to share it verbally, but you almost have to write it out on paper in order for it to make sense. So if you've got, it's called the rule of 72. And what that rule means is if you take any given interest rate amount, so if you have 18 divided into the number 72,
Hmm.
18 goes into 72 four times, right? So if you have a credit card and you keep pulling from that credit card and you're not paying it off monthly before there's interest charges, and you keep doing that cycle, eventually your debt, they have it set up that your debt ends up doubling at 18% interest. If you owe 10,000 on your credit cards, you're going to owe 20,000 on your credit cards in 4 years if you don't
Hmm.
plan accordingly.
Yeah.
Okay? Does that make sense, viewers? So divide the interest rate into the number 72, and whatever that answer is how fast your debt will double. But here's the key. It also works the opposite for savings interest. Okay, so
Right on.
if let's use a number that's more realistic to your thinking. 10 10 into 72 is 7 years, right? 7.2 years. So if you had $10,000 saved in your small increment savings every paycheck, and you got it up to 10,000, and you had it in a savings that was yielding 10% interest, in 7 years, that $10,000 lump sum would now become $20,000
Right on.
in savings. So here you are at 18, and now you're 60 or 65 or 55, right? The amount of years that you have for that to keep doubling, okay, you have a greater chance of obtaining your financial goals with a net effective yield over a longer period of time than what I do at 63.
That's right.
Because I've only got another couple years or less of
Yeah.
employment. My savings timeline is less than yours. If you start early, you have an opportunity to have long-term wealth.
Yep.
Jackie and I, even though we had a bump in the road with my business and not saving as much, we were able to use that logic and that plan, and we've become financially capable with our upcoming retirements. And what a great feeling.
Yeah.
And then to take a trip like this and be able to enjoy it and not have the financial worries that normally come from it, putting it all on a credit card. It's just not the way to do it. So
Yeah. And that's a great point there too, because it's that mindset as well that I think a lot of people are not taught is
yeah,
the freedom that comes from not having that debt hanging over you.
yeah,
That's a real thing.
yeah. So I don't if people are aware, our investments have been, the 401ks have been booming. Um, the market hit over 47,000 for the first time ever just
Yeah.
recently. Um, there are advantages to doing this kind of planning, and
Yeah.
so one last thing with this, Chris, is so we go through the ups and downs of the economy. We had been in a downturn for a short period of time,
Yep.
and now we're back up in the upturn, right? So here I am as an example at 63. Um, you want to sell high, you want to buy low, but the key to it is buying consistently at both for a
Hmm.
long period of time. So that's called a net effective yield. What are you going to end up with as an average for interest over a 30 or 40 or 50-year
Yeah,
time period? If you end up with an average of 10%, that's pretty darn good over
that's
your life.
really good.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and
Bank.
it's interesting that you say that too, because over the last several years, I've been kind of doing the same exercise as you.
Mhm,
And what I did is I put together a spreadsheet, and one of the columns is my age. So I think I started it in my 30s, 30,
mhm,
31, 32. You're just ticking it up, right? And then the amount of money that I was saving, I had as another column. And then usually about every 6 months, I go and I look at my 401k, how it's
mhm.
doing, and I look at like what it's doing year to date, and I look at the 3-year trend. And just like you said, I mean, there are times when it's over 10%. There are
Yeah.
times when it's like 6-ish%. I don't
Mhm.
remember ever seeing it go under 6%. It's
Yeah.
always growing though. And that,
Yeah.
like you said, is the key. It's always growing. So invest in a 401k if you have that opportunity, or find some mutual funds or something like that that you can at least invest in, because the real power is the time. And what I did with
Yes.
that spreadsheet was to show that to myself when I was teaching myself this. Every year, if I take, like you're saying, that 10,000, 7 years it becomes 20,000, 14 years it becomes 40,000. I mean, it just goes up and up and up. And here I am in my mid 50s now. I'm I'm going to be ready to retire very comfortably by the time I'm 70.
Yeah. Yeah. And so let's say you're ready to retirement and the market is up here. Okay, it's up in the upper cycle. Comfortably able to, move that into a less risk investments, so that you can utilize it over the rest of your life in retirement.
Mhm.
But
Good point.
what if you're ready to retire and the market is way down here? Well, so it is. Okay. If that occurs to me, I'm going to continue to work until
Mhm.
it's back up at this top cycle again. The market has always been cyclical. It always goes up and down. So you just simply don't retire if it's here. If unfortunately your timeline puts you here at the age where you wish to retire, don't do it. Just
Keep
wait it
going.
out. Sell high. Don't
Yeah.
sell low. So, so suck it up, Buttercup. You're going to have to probably go another couple years, right?
Yeah.
So that's what
Well,
I would
my
do.
plan is like retiring at 70, but if it all works out, maybe I'll start looking around 65, 66. Who knows?
Yeah. And who knows? Yeah, that's just it. Maybe even earlier, but
Yeah.
you make the decisions based on where the market's at, not where you feel you want to be, you
I'm
know.
glad you brought that up, because I think that really is the key. And it's kind of what I was suggesting earlier, is you get yourself into a habit of paying attention to these kinds of things. Because once
Yeah.
you're in that habit, like I said, I do it like twice a year. I'll go make sure everything looks good, make slight adjustments, maybe this mutual fund versus that mutual fund, depending
Hmm.
on how things are going. But to be honest with you, I just go with what the advisors suggest anyway, because they're the
Yeah.
experts on this. I'm the
Yeah.
software engineer guy. I don't know anything about finances.
Yeah. Diversifying so that you have a large cross section of the entire economy,
Good point.
both internationally and nationally, and so you don't have all your eggs in one basket, right? So you
That's a
have
great point.
you have a little bit here in stocks, you have a little bit here in bonds, you have a little bit here in mutual funds, you have a little bit
Yeah.
here in gold, you have a little bit there in silver, you have a little bit there in crypto, okay, which is a up and coming, you know,
Yeah.
financial measure that people should probably be learning about. I'm real naive in it, but I have a friend who's mastering it and teaching it to people. and
Nice.
it's gonna be one of those situations that now's the time to consider something like that as an investment in your portfolio. So
Well, and like you're saying too, I think it's all a matter of spreading out risk. You
yep.
a little bit of high risk over here mixed with some lower
Mhm.
risk over there, and that way it all kind of balances out. So if
Yeah,
the high risk doesn't pan out, well, at least you got the rest of it.
that's right. If one market segment is down and the others are all up, you're probably going to have a net yield higher
Yeah.
than expected, or the lost market. So
Exactly. And as I said before, I've been doing this for decades too,
mhm.
watching this and, this mutual fund, that mutual fund. And over all of this time of participating in a 401k plan and an IRA now too, I have never seen it go below 6%. No matter how bad the economy was, it always levels back out.
Yeah,
Because like you're saying, you diversify so that everything ends up balancing and it always goes up.
yeah. There was a time when IT, when the computer tech stocks were pushing returns up over 30%.
Yeah.
There was a time when that occurred, and then the
Until that
bottom
bubble
fell out.
burst.
Yeah, the bubble burst, and it all fell backwards. And a lot of people who were too strong in tech and not diversified ended up
Yeah.
losing their shorts. And
Yeah.
some of them ended
Yeah,
up
if you put
jumping
all
out the
your
building. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah,
yeah.
you
Go.
gotta you gotta, like you said, never put all of your eggs in one basket, as the old
Yeah,
saying goes. I think that was Benjamin Franklin who came up with that one.
I think so. Yeah, going. It any situation, finances. Um, all of any life for life situation that we end up with, you know an ounce of prevention, an ounce of preparation. I mean, if you spend half time just researching and becoming knowledgeable about a specific topic, you're going to be 90% ahead of the
Yeah.
majority of the population. So if we're talking about bug out bag preparation, if we're talking about financial preparedness, if how to be a good father, how to be a good husband, you know, um, Chris and I think I'll proudly state that he and I have worked hard at different areas of our life, and we're reaping the benefits of a little bit of research and a little bit of planning and preparation. And I'd encourage viewers to do the same. Don't just sit back and expect it to happen to you like so many have done.
Right on.
It's
Well, and
it's
now
not
we have all
fair.
these wonderful, amazing tools. You can go Google this information and find
Mhm.
a plethora. Now, make sure you're getting it from good sources. Don't just
Yeah,
take it from dark web sources or anything.
yeah,
Make
yeah,
sure you're finding real good financial minds out there. And there is a ton of great information on the internet about this.
yeah. Rolling the dice at Vegas probably isn't a great retirement investment plan. You know.
I bought a lottery ticket once and I said, "Here's my retirement plan."
Yeah,
Of
yeah,
course, it's a joke.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's being in the position that Jackie and I are in today here in Australia. I got to pinch myself because who would have, I wouldn't have thought that we would be traveling overseas and doing this is the first time for me. So I
That's
just
awesome.
got my passport for the first time in my life, last
That's awesome.
within 6 months of this time period. So and now that we've done it. Oh, I did before I forget this. One other area of pre-planning that my daughter shared with me and encouraged and really forcefully, told me, Dad, you need to use this. So this is good. This is really good advice, Chris. This is
All right.
especially for older guys like me. So you're on the plane and you're up at this 40,000 feet above sea level, right? You're up in this upper elevation, and you'd be shocked at how that affects your internal system. The
Oh,
pressure on your blood, on your veins, on your heart, on your ears, on everything, right? So she says, Dad, you have got to take these socks, these compression socks, right?
oh,
So I wear these. I couldn't do the socks. I ended up putting these calf sleeves on. They're just like wraps that go around the calves. I think they saved me. I didn't have. Well, I had a little bit of weird feeling in my toes and my upper legs
interesting.
above that, but for 13 hours on a plane ride, stuck in that seat with limited ability to get up and down, if we closed on this one piece of advice, that would be it. Don't be
I
so
never would have
macho that
thought of
you
compression
fight.
socks. That's fascinating.
I was fighting it because I wore compression socks one day that were given to me to try, and I used them all day in my semi, and I was like, this is a bunch of this ain't working. I was being a macho guy, right? I'm not wearing these ugly looking socks all the way up to my knees.
Right.
I put those sleeves on. That was the best advice that my daughter could have given me. So
That's awesome. I
yeah,
never in a million years would have thought of that.
yeah, and pop swallow when when you're taking off, you're rising in the plane,
Yeah,
and
I
your
usually try to
ears,
chew gum.
yeah, chew gum or swallow, and that'll pop. That pressure in your ears will go
Yeah.
away from that. That's like scuba diving too. The deeper you go, you have to
Mm,
swallow in order to get your ears to adjust properly.
yeah.
So
Good
yeah,
stuff. Well, you
who would
know
have
what?
thought?
We've been going at it for almost an hour here.
Nice.
Probably should let you get back to enjoying your day there in
Yeah.
Australia.
Yeah, this is episode 5 of Life. Life is life for everyone. You know, I
Wow.
I said this morning, Chris, I don't know where this is going to go with you and I, if we're going to have enough, enough topic, enough interest, viewer interest.
Yeah.
Sure wish we could crack the code and figure out how to make this go viral, because I honestly do believe we have shared pretty relative useful information with our viewers. And I hope you guys that are listening and watching, I hope you'll consider sharing this with your friends and your family. uh,
Yeah.
if you
Well, and,
find
and well said, do all the things, like, subscribe, share it on all the social media. But great point. And also, while you're at it, folks, I'm starting to run out of coffee. So if you wouldn't mind, go down to cooleyconservatives.com and click that little buy me a coffee option.
yeah, yeah, Chris drinks a lot of coffee.
It takes a lot of coffee to keep this operation running, man.
Yeah. If we've kept it non-political, but if you're interested in real truth and in regards to what's going on locally in the Wisconsin area, sometimes nationally, but mostly locally, I encourage you to join, the team of listeners and viewers on Chris's website on cooleyconservatives.com, and tune into you know the politically active efforts that are being made especially in the third district in Wisconsin, and join Chris and we're both active, and so join us in helping to fight for freedom and patriotism and the American way of life. You
Right
know,
on.
so I don't want socialism to take over. There are,
No. It
you
all
know,
comes down to our love of Christ and our
yes,
love of our neighbors and communities. And that's why we get active into this stuff. And that's
yeah,
why I love having these conversations with you, because life is life for everyone is about just being alive and living and sharing
mhm,
the things that we've learned in our experiences over time.
yeah, yeah, that's right. Okay, Chris. Well, from
All right,
Australia.
sir. Yeah, take
Yeah.
care.
Hi, thanks for checking out this episode. If you like this content, then please visit cooleyconservatives.com and click the Buy Me a Coffee option to leave us a tip. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Truth Social. Oh, and you can get our content in your email inbox once a week by subscribing at cooleyconservatives.com. Thanks again. Take care and God bless.
I want you